Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 31st July 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube, hariboltrsvnectar, nectar. Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this video and this vlog so that I may keep reminding you to about all my previous and future videos. Kindly press the bell icon so that I may do so successfully. So let us continue with the discussion of the topic for today. For the past few videos, we have been trying to analyze the human psyche of a human living entity in a particular lifetime in this particular material world. In this process, we have come to realize about the main and subsidiary factors that influence the psyche of a human living entity. In that process, we have also discussed several real life human life history cases which have told us or delved inside this particular theory about the psyche of a living entity. We have been able to understand this theory better by discussing these case studies. Today too, in a further continuation of study of case studies, we will talk about the story of a protagonist whose name is none other than Rajendra Nath. What happened, how it happened, and why it happened. We shall try to analyze what this complete story or life story of a particular human being. When India was under the colonial rule, there was one family, a largely extended family, which lived in the western part of Punjab in India before 1947. In 1947, India got independence, but at the same time, one part of India became a newly constructed state called or created state called Pakistan, and the other was called Bangladesh, which was in the east side of India. When this western side of India was partitioned and called Pakistan, this West Punjab resultantly went to Pakistan. This family, which consisted of a Hindu surname called Nath, relocated from West Punjab and came to a place called Jabalpur in what was then called Central Provinces in India. This Central Provinces later got bifurcated and the majority of Central Provinces became a state called Madhya Pradesh. This extended Nath family settled down in Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh. Most of the elders of this family, mainly male, were either police officers, agriculturists, or businessmen. However, in one generation, one of the boys of the Nath family, especially the eldest one called Prem Nath, came to Bombay to become an actor along with his brother in law and his brother in law's father. The father's name was Prithviraj Kapoor, who is considered to be the patriarch of the Kapoor clan of Bollywood. This brother in law was none other than the legendary Raj Kapoor. Prem Nath from Jabalpur joined his brother in law and joined the film industry as an actor resultantly. He was the eldest in the family with a lot of siblings down under, one of whom was called Rajendra Nath. Rajendra Nath was around 10 years younger than Prem Nath. This Rajendra Nath was born and brought up in Jabalpur and later he relocated to Bombay when he grew up into a young man. This was because he was enamored by the dizzy and sudden success of his elder brother Prem Nath as an actor in the tinsel town of Bombay. Prem Nath also wanted to become an actor and so he joined his elder brother in Bombay. Now we shall take a detour in this discussion. Rajendra Nath's Prarabdha Karma made him be born in this family of Naths in Jabalpur. Prarabdha Karma is a slice of Sanchit Karma that a human living entity brings along with him or her to be worked out in this particular lifetime or in one particular lifetime. This Sanchit Karma is actually a reservoir of unworked karma from the past few births memory of the same living entity. Because this unworked karma has to be worked out by the same living entity till he completes his birth and death in this material world. So, this living entity takes a slice of that karma from the storage of Sanchit karma to be worked out in a particular birth. Same was the case with this living entity called Rajendra Nath, who brought with himself a slice of that karma which made him be born in the family of the Naths. This slice is, as we all know, called prarabdha karma. This prarabdha karma is the foundation or the first factor on which the making up of the psyche of a human living entity is based. The second factor is called kriyamana karma. This kriyamana karma is born out of the free will that every human living entity gets as a result of being born in a particular lifetime. This gift of free will is given to him by his or her destiny. This free will allows that living entity to work out according to his or her tastes, preferences, nature, family, surrounding, atmosphere, experiences, maturity, etc. Hence, this free will is a new type of process in which the karma done in this particular free will as kriyamana karma is not at all connected with the already existing sanchit karma or the prarabdha karma. This is a new type of karma which this living entity adds to his own already existing karma. This is the second factor which decides or shapes the psyche of that living entity. The third factor is the vibrations from the subtle body of that living entity and their processing in the brain of that living entity's gross body. What is the brain? Brain is a mass of tissue that acts as a conduit between the gross body of that living entity and the three subtle bodies that have already existed as three different layers of ether in the material body of that living entity. To explain it further, when the spirit soul comes in touch with the material world, this material world, irritated by such intrusion, envelops that spirit soul with four layers of material body which are made up of five elements, namely ether, air, fire, water, and earth. This ether forms the first three layers of the subtle body. These layers are intelligence, which is the first layer, the astral body of feelings and emotion, which is the second layer and which is controlled by the mind of the living entity, and the etheric body of senses, namely sight, taste, touch, hearing, and smell. This is controlled by the senses of that living entity. Vibrations from the causal body, astral body, and etheric senses keep hitting the brain of that living entity right from the moment he or she is born till the end of the lifetime of that living entity. According to the evolvement of that particular living entity, vibration from these three bodies is taken, processed, chewed upon, masticated, and the juice further percolated into the gross body of that living entity. In the case of Rajendra Nath, there was no exception. This process of vibrations from the subtle body being chewed by his brain and further percolated down his gross body happened to him also. Because he was interested in acting, so probably his astral body of mind, which is the source for all creation, took a precedence over the subtle bodies of etheric senses and causal intelligence, as a result of which his career as a film actor became more important to him than any other profession or career. However, I would hasten to add here that when Rajendra Nath tried to join the film industry as an actor, his Kriyamana karma took over his prarabdha karma because this particular act of Rajendra Nath was based on his free will, tastes, preferences, thoughts, ambitions, and wishes. So now we have three factors: the prarabdha karma, which made him be born and brought up in the Nath family, the Kriyamana karma that made him become an actor in the Bollywood tinsel town of Bombay, and the vibrations from his three subtle bodies, which were duly processed by his brain and percolated down his gross body. There is a fourth major factor also. This fourth major factor is known as false ego. This false ego originates when the same living entity identifies with his or her gross body in a particular lifetime. This false ego acts as a catalyst in the reactions and actions of the three other factors, namely prarabdha karma, kriyamana karma, and vibrations to make the psyche of that particular living entity. There are several other subsidiary factors also. They are based on this person's experiences, maturity, and happenings in his or her surroundings during this lifetime. A mixture of the four major and the other subsidiary factors makes up for the total size of that living entity. Rajendra Nath was no exception to this rule. After struggling for a short period, and because his elder brother and brother-in-law, etc., were from the film industry, Rajendra, thanks to his initial prarabdha karma, began getting roles in various movies in the film industry. However, because of the vibrations in his mind and brain, this guy chose to be a comedian and a character actor instead of a main lead in the film industry. Thus, thanks to his Kriyamana karma and the vibrations of his subtle bodies, this guy became a comic actor and had a gala period during a 20-year career as an actor in the film industry. This 20-year home run began in 1955 and it ended in 1975. During this 20-year gala period, this guy made money and success, fame, fortune, and popularity hand over fist so that one day this guy became quite wealthy, affluent, and rich. However, by the time he was in the mid 70s, his health caught up with Rajendra Nath, and because of that, he began getting frequently unwell and ill. At that time, instead of becoming an actor or remaining an actor, this guy decided to become a film producer. He knew nothing except this profession as a filmmaker. He had not been that educated probably and he had no professional qualification otherwise. All his life he had only been an actor. So when he turned producer, he failed to realize that the brain of a producer, a director, an actor, and a writer are drastically different. Production wants logic and a type of intelligence which this guy had seldom used during his 20-year character as an actor. Sorry, 20-year career as an actor. Naturally, Rajendra Nath had no experiences as a producer. He then went ahead, regardless of this, and again the advice of other peers to become a film producer, and he signed his own nephew but and his own niece in law for a movie. as a producer. These people tried to make this movie, but because of several unknown and continuously volatile factors, this production was hit by circumstances and Rajendra Nath could not complete this project. In this process, he began losing money and probably he had to take some loan also from his own family or from outside sources. All this broke Rajendra and he became distraught. He was already physically unwell, and hence his health started deteriorating drastically and in great speed. And one day, in the early 80s or so, Rajendra Nath expired, leaving his own wish to become a successful filmmaker unfulfilled. Here we should remember that because of his Kriyamana karma, probably Rajendra Nath had a majority of that Kriyamana karma still left unworked. He was born in this lifetime in a police officer's family, but probably because of his unworked Kriyamana karma, which will be joined to his already existing Sanchit karma, his next slice of Prarabdha karma will be colored by this unworked Kriyamana karma and he will be born in some place where that Prarabdha karma takes him as a living entity. It will certainly not be that of the son of a police officer. It will have a coloring of this creative film industry Kriyamana Karma. This is a lesson to all of us. We people must be very careful while applying our own free will and doing some Kriyamana Karma during a lifetime. We must do it in such a way that our Sanchit karma improves day by day and our next slice of Prarabdha karma in this material world during our next birth will be certainly better than what it was in this particular lifetime. Our main aim as human beings is to become spiritual, meditate, contemplate, get self realized, finally get liberated from this endless cycle of birth and death, and then get delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We all must keep this subject or this aim in mind before doing our own Kriyamana karma or any action born out of free will. If we learn from the experiences of others, we will become better people than we are today. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.